She's not what you'd expect. She's tough and feisty, but gentle and tender. She makes millions and gives millions to the poor. She cries, she laughs, she teaches, she comforts. This is the Dani Johnson Show.
Hi, I'm Dani Johnson. Welcome to the Dani Johnson Show. Hey, are you one of those women that you feel, I don't know, like you're not enough? This is something I've been pondering on lately. Are we enough? Where do we even get the answer? Like, is it really our own answer? That if you were to ask yourself, am I enough? Do I carry around a bunch of insecurities? And I'm living my life through the lens of those insecurities. We asked this question of our audience, and the answers were really kind of surprising. We found that, do you feel like you're enough, right? We asked women, what are some of your biggest insecurities as a woman? What have you struggled with? Have you been able to overcome those insecurities? And what's amazing is that largely the answers are all centered around weight. It's all centered around our body type. All centered around how we look, because how we look apparently determines how we feel. Or at least that's the program, right? That's the program. But is it possible that how we feel actually determines how we look versus how we look determines how we feel? Which one do we work on? How we feel or how we look? But so many of the answers had to do with weight. Oh, I'm 200 pounds, or I've got weight to lose, and I'm just not quite the right size. In fact, one of these is absolutely hilarious. This is Dusty. She writes this to us. She says, right now, it's my weight, ... as I await my Domino's delivery. Isn't that awesome? It's hilarious, right? So here she knows that it's her weight, right? Now, again, so she doesn't feel like she's enough because of her weight, but Domino's is on its way to deliver that nasty pizza. Ugh, gosh, like this stuff is so nasty. Ugh. But nonetheless, it's on the way. So do you have some insecurities? Have you been able to overcome them? Or are you still being led by those insecurities? That being said, I want to hear from you. I want to know. Please just type it in the comments, right wherever it is that you are watching this. If you're watching this on TV, then come over to our website, DaniJohnson.com. You'll see the post for today's show and just write me a comment right underneath the show. You'll see it right there. So, and if you're on Twitter, if you're on Facebook, if you're on YouTube, and you're seeing this, right now, go ahead. I want you to type it in. Are you struggling with insecurities? Are you living your life through your insecurities? What are they? What needs to be overcome? Is it too your weight? Because I want to read you some of these that I've seen so far. This is amazing. Always felt that I was never good enough. I'm not a good enough mom. And she says, I'm now a proud grandmother of 5 beautiful grandchildren. My children have grown into amazing young people, and I'm so proud of what they have achieved. I finally feel that I must have done something right. Praise God. That was Janet. You've got Amy. She says, I compare myself to other women. Even though I catch myself, it bugs me that I do that. So what does that do when we start comparing ourselves to other women? Are you doing that? Is that again a big guide for your life that determines whether or not you measure up, whether or not you are good enough? This is something that before we came in to talk to you today, we were kind of laughing about how much pressure from society puts on us. And it's almost like there's a fad when it comes to our body. Right? So look, if you're somewhere around my age, you know you were in high school in the 80s, right? And in the 80s, the 70s and the 80s, everyone needed to be like twiggy, like super scrawny, like anorexia was a big thing when I was in high school. It really was. Like the skinnier you were, the more beautiful you were, right? And so you had women like, you know, doing aerobics for hours every day. Ugh, do you remember those ugly leg warmers and those ugly Reebok tennis shoes, white and all puffy, right? And then we had our neon running shorts and our neon shirts and our neon headbands. Oh my gosh, I can't even believe that anybody ever did that. But anyway, so my point is that back in the 70s and 80s, like being super scrawny was beautiful. And so if you were not scrawny, then, and I'm not saying healthy, I'm saying skinny, like skinny, no muscle tone, just skinny, right? So cardio was like a big thing. So women didn't have muscle tone on their bodies. They were just skinny. And if you were skinny, then you were beautiful, like concave, concave in your ribs, concave, your hip bones sticking out. Do you understand what I mean? Just like skinny. Okay, but if you go back before that, and we go back to the 60s, you go back to the 50s, you go back to the 40s, the women, that was not beautiful, right? So the women actually were more voluptuous in the 50s, okay? Let's look at Marilyn Monroe. That woman was not skinny at all, right? And the women that were considered beautiful had cellulite on their bodies. What was considered beautiful was like very shapely, like hips, chest, healthy looking arms, so not scrawny arms. They were not skinny. They didn't have flat stomachs. Now they did accentuate the waist, but what they did is they made their hips look bigger with their big puffy, dresses that came to the knees. So they always had like something underneath their dresses, a slip that made their dresses much more full, and they had lots of fabric. So that really accentuated the biggerness of their hips to make their waist look smaller. But women were not skinny. Skinny was not beautiful there. Okay, but right before that time, skinny was in. So are we victims of what the fashion industry is selling us? Are we victims of maybe what, I don't know, even this, look at this. Okay, so look at right now, what is becoming in? So look, there was a time where if women's muscle definition was showing, that was disgusting. If you had super low body fat and you were muscular, that was disgusting. That was not pretty. That was not sexy. That was not attractive at all. Not at all. Look, I want you to do this. If you Google like women in even like fashion and women from like the 20s were Twiggies. Right? The 20s were anorexia chicks just like they were in the 70s and 80s, right? So it's a kind of a reproduction of that same woman. Scrawny, flat-chested, right? Concave stomachs, twiggy little arms. Looks like you could break the little girl really, really easily, right? So then they went the other way of like, no, man, she's got to be meaty. If she's meaty, she's healthy and she's strong, and then back to scrawny again. And where are we today? Where are we today? Think about it. Think about what is really being promoted, what is really being celebrated. What is it? Well, honestly, there are very large women that are being celebrated. There are. We have celebrities today that are very voluptuous, right? But there is a certain body part that's gotten a lot of attention. I think it has to do with a song that was written, I think, sometime in 2000. Yeah, something about her backside and a little tiny waist, right? So now it's like, think about all the different workout programs that are out there to build your butt. Listen, I have suckered into those myself. No joke, I'm just thinking about it right now. And it really, who provoked it was my coworkers here of like, building your thighs, building your butt, right? Having muscular arms, low body fat. Like this is now what is considered beautiful. And what's really funny is that my husband was telling me, he's like, dude, he goes, if you're going to work out, please do not get bumpy. I'm like, what do you mean bumpy? He's like, bumpy. Okay, like, abs and, like you could see all the definition. It's like, it is just really disgusting to me. He goes, it makes me like, ew, like, please don't do that. And so when I started working out, he's like, you're getting a little too bumpy. Like, there's too much muscle tone. There's too much muscle definition. Like, you need to pull back a little bit on that. Please eat a cheeseburger, which I still eat cheeseburgers, but nonetheless, not very often. But the bottom line is this, are you allowing, again, the marketers, right? Because who's marketing this? Well, it all depends on what you're looking at, especially in social media, right? Because if you happen to be talking about your weight, all of a sudden in your newsfeed, you get tons of ads of weight loss opportunities, right? But largely, at least what I've seen, what's been put before my eyes, is all of this like workout stuff, right? So it's not the workout like the 80s was the workout. Nope. The workout in the 80s was aerobics, right? With your funny, frizzy, curly hair and your headband. Come on, you remember, right? And you're skinny, but you're not lean. There's a big difference between the two. You could be skinny and not be lean, meaning lean muscle mass. You don't have a lot of lean muscle mass. You just have, no muscle. no muscle. So versus today, which is like the ripped chick, right? Like Ernestine Shepherd, the ripped 82 or 83-year-old, whatever she is today. I just found another one, and she's in her 70s, and she's a Hispanic woman, and she's ripped, man. But that now is like appealing, right? And trying to build your backside. Is that having a factor in how you're feeling about you? Is that leading you? Are you allowing your insecurities about your body, your self-image, to direct how you feel about you, how you feel about who you are as a person? I got to tell you this. I recently asked my husband this question, because we've all noticed this before. We've all seen some of these guys that are like beautifully built, right? And they have a woman who is not beautifully built. In fact, she's probably not even beautiful. She's not just a little bit overweight, but maybe a lot. She might be she might be obese, but she's got this gorgeous man, right? And you just go, what's the attraction there? And I asked my husband this question. I said, do you think that men are more attracted? Is a man more attracted to a woman who has a high sex drive more so than what her body looks like? And he's like, yeah. It was like I asked a dumb question, right? And here's what's interesting, because I have seen women who have that beautiful according to who, depending on what time period you want to look from, right? So, for example, today's time period would be very disgusting to the time period of the 40s and the 50s. Like, that would be gross for a woman to be, like, ripped. It's just no thank you, okay? So, but, today, being ripped might be something that's very, very, very beautiful, depending on who you are. So, we've seen beautiful women who have no sex drive, and they have a mess of a marriage. You have other women who are overweight, and they're not the most gorgeous thing on the planet, and they got a super high sex drive, and they know how to entice their husbands, and they know how to, they have a craving for their husband, and they know how to bring him into her den, and she knows how to bring great pleasure to him, and hello, he is just like so committed to that woman. And so do we have a tendency of putting, our hope in our bodies versus choosing to direct our own feelings, choosing to direct how we feel about ourselves? Don't be led by your feelings. You tell your feelings how they're going to feel. Don't even be led by your mind, because, friend, you and I have been programmed. We've had billions of messaging telling us who we're not, telling us that we're not enough. We have submitted ourselves to stuff on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, especially with all of the celebrities and all of their beauty and all of their plastic beauty and their airbrushing, the rich, the super rich that have, a makeup artist come and do them up every single day. And they have access to clothing that can make them look phenomenal, right? And they've got personal trainers, and they've got, liposuction and this suction and that, and nip and tuck and suck and put it all up in all these different places. And then, and then we're looking at them going, I don't measure up. I don't measure up. I don't measure up. So you've been messaged to billions of times. Every single day you're being messaged to. And all that messaging is to say you're not enough. You don't measure up. You don't have big enough chest. You don't have a big enough backside. You don't have nice enough thighs. You don't have long enough legs. You don't have the right hair color. You don't have enough hair. Right? You have too many wrinkles, or you don't have enough of them. Your eyes are the wrong color. I mean, the list goes on. Or you're not smart. You're not smart. You're not good at this. You're not good at that. I mean, literally, now listen to me, follow me, please. Here's all this messaging only to produce a feeling of dissatisfaction. And what comes along with all this messaging is buy this lipstick now, and you'll feel sexy. Buy this perfume and you'll feel better. Buy this makeup line and you will look better. Buy these clothes and it's going to make you feel more satisfied. Do you understand? So all of this billions of messaging has come to us to try to get us to buy things, to put ourselves in debt so that we feel better about ourselves, all the while that we put that piece of jewelry on, we put that silk coat on, we put that lipstick on, and what do we still feel like? We don't measure up. Why? Because that's all the programming that is hitting your head all day, every day, trying to get you to buy something you actually do not need. And then when it comes time to buying something that you should get, that will reprogram your mind to feel that you are enough, to actually discover who you really are and what your real value actually is, that when it comes time to actually buy something that's going to change your life forever versus for a moment while I put this lipstick on, we all of a sudden say we're not worth it or we don't need it, and it's really not going to solve anything. Isn't that interesting? Well, I'm going to tell you something. You might be one of those very few that you are dying inside, and you're tired of your insecurities, and you're sick and tired of being stuck, and you're tired of being manipulated into purchasing stuff that is unnecessary, hoping that it's going to solve the problem. That if you are that rare one who's really ready, like I was ready 27 years ago as a homeless woman, coming up on 28 here in just a minute, friends, 28 years since I was homeless, suicidal, hating myself, destroying myself, burying myself in drugs and men, burying myself in all the thoughts of everything that I was told. You're fat, you're ugly, you're stupid, no one will ever love you, no one will ever want you, your life is always going to be this way. I was one of those people that if you're like that, you are rare. And you're ready to step forward, and you're ready to make huge changes. You're ready to say goodbye to not measuring up anymore. And you're ready to say hello to discovering who you really are and how you were wired and how you can bring that person every day in front of your spouse, every day in front of your kids, every day in the workplace, every day even financially. You're ready to feel on top of the world, knowing that wisdom is in your hands, and therefore your future is so much brighter than you can even imagine today. If that's you, and if you feel like I'm talking directly to you, can you write something down? firststepstowealth.com. I want to give this to you. I want to help you with the exact kind of steps that I had to learn to go from homeless and suicidal and fat and undesirable to the opposite. And not only have I made millions of dollars myself and now give it away to all the poor, and I don't take a salary, but we have helped thousands and thousands and thousands of people, thousands of them from all walks of life and all over the world, from single moms, destitute, broke, who now are running successful companies, to guys who walked out on their families and just said, forget it, I can't do it anymore, to be reunited back with his family and leading and not being whipped up financially anymore, not being beaten financially anymore, but now being on top financially. So I want to give this to you. It's free. If you go to firststepstowealth.com, you pay the shipping to get it to you, and I'll pay for the book. It's a $15 book. It's not like, a 100-page book. I mean, this is a full book. It's your manual on how to reclaim the value of who you are in your life and to be everything and more than what you thought you could. So get it right now. Go to firststepstowealth.com. Just give us the information you want your book sent to. You'll also be given the chance to get the audio version of the book. If you're like one of those that you like to hear the audio version, you'll have access to be able to get a hold of that as well. So you pay the shipping to get the book to your house. Start reading it. More importantly, follow what it says. And I can't wait to see the new you that no longer is walking around with these insecurities, being manipulated by all the merchants that are out there telling you a big bag of nonsense. But what if who you were right now? Wow. You get to discover who that is. Yep. And live it. And shock everybody, including yourself. All right, this is Dani Johnson. Thanks so much for joining us today. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye.